Boo 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 doo 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 doo. Chapu chapu dabu babu doo ba 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 bo 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 ba da ba bo 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 bo. My glasses are dirty. We don't have a waiting screen today. Because I'm gonna... Oops, sorry. I'm gonna play Uma Musume. Dun, dun, dun. McDonald's has launched an extra large shareable version of their fries. Wow. 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 Okay. My nose is stuffy. Shave. Hi, Pride! 2 years! Oh my god, you've been here for 24 months! Holy moly. A trusty pop cup. I haven't seen the sun in 2 years. It's been so long. Today oh my god, she has angel wings! Oh. Oh. Oh my god, she's so cute. Who is this Diamond? Sotono Diamond? Hi, Ven! Oh my god, Ven, you should have been here. Did you listen to the last... You heard baby Noelle's heartbeat! Do you have a gender? Oh my god, does Abby have a bump? Has the bump formed? Oh my god. Last Wednesday was nuts for you? Not yet for gender. Are you gonna wait or are you gonna be surprised? Hi, Windmill. Next visit. Oh, so exciting. I have no patience for surprises. Real. I would want it too because I would want to get cute little things, you know. Cute little things. And obviously you can get cute little things for anyone, but you know. Your new monitor arrived! Does that mean you have another monitor? Do I know what Roblox is? I do! Name a car for an edit. A punch buggy. Toyota Camry! My old one was 34 inches. I don't know how much that is. You can afford the VIP! Wow. Why do they call it punch buggies? Because when you see one, you punch someone who's next to you. A punch buggy. Redeem it for me? You can't do that! Phil earned those VIPs fair and square. You call it Slugabug? Ah. That's so funny. My siblings beat me up with Slugabug. Yeah, we used to do punch buggy no return. Punch buggy no takebacks? Punch buggy no return? Okay, anyways, guys, I didn't go on the waiting screen today because the new banner comes out on Ume Musume the second that... You ain't getting in my vid? No! So sad. No punch buggies. We are! Van, yesterday. Carry me, Uma Musume. Follow me. Hola, I'm English. Wanted to say that I'm a solo game dev working in Magic background. Ooh, nice. Every day is horse day. The horse game scares you? You should... So cute! She's an angel! I can be your angel or your devil. Real horses scare me. I told you a car! The punch buggy! You want me to show you a picture of it? Punch buggy. Copy image link. As a punch buggy. Punch buggy, punch buggy, punch buggy, buggy, buggy. Oof. You may play the game? Thank you! I was gonna say something. Like... Where? It's on the screen! Oh, are you on... Oh, you're on YouTube. Hold on. You're probably on the small screen, right? Punch buggy, no punch back! This one? Here. That's a punch buggy. Oops. I moved myself by accident. Now you know what a punch buggy is. Oh no, what's my Uma Masume ID? Do I want to remove? Oh, what did I just remove? Not the right thing. Remove. Hold on, guys. I have to remove my punch buggy. Remove. Okay. You've seen those cars before. Yeah, they're the punch buggies. Putting in the world's smallest. My favorite thing is watching, like, people come out of really small cars. My friend ID is 88. Here, I'll just write it for you. 884 290 005 072. There. You were doing it? Aw, thanks. That is it's a Volkswagen? That's what it is? I always thought they were called Beetles. Punch buggies are so silly looking. Oh. She told me she was proud that I got so many. They're made by Volkswagen. Okay, guys, I'm gonna try and pull first for... You guys can't see it, by the way, but I have my phone here with me. I'm gonna try and pull for my beautiful McQueen Angel. And then I'll try and pull for the card. I'm Gambaine! I'm Gambaine! Marvelous! I want a Marvelous. I have, like, usually really bad luck with the, Maybe one will flip! Daiwa, Scaleto. Can you hear it? Can you hear the music? It flipped! Super creek! Oh, you can't? That's sad. That means that my audio is working very well. 2 super creeks! Alright, wow. Oguri? Oguri does... Okay, I'm gonna do it again because... I want her! She's so cute! You can get on Steam too if you ever want to stream it. I don't know how to use the same account. I have another account that's connected to my Steam account. Wow! Oh my god, Eldo Condor. Wait, I already had her, never mind. Papa Gun! Winning ticket, winning ticket. I recently did winning tickets, story. Gold chip! Alright, this is sad. Guys, this is so sad. Alright, we'll do a support card one now. I have three more pulls. Please flip, please fit. Oh, data link, set a link password. Oh! King Halo. My god, Daitaku Helios. Manhattan Cafe! You want to use your phone account on your Steam. Or it could be the other way around. I've put a lot of time in my phone one. Okay. Scouting again. Guys, I thought I would get streamer luck. But I'm not getting streamer luck. I'm not getting anything. This is so sad. You want this tail? I want the McQueen. Marvelous! Well, you're not streaming it, so... Maybe. Guys, I'm so sad. You got her first try? McQueen or tail? Wow, Mikarin took my luck from me, out of my hands. Took it from my grasp. Ew. I want McQueen. It's okay. It's not okay. This is so sad. Okay, I'm pulling for McQueen again. I saw someone like pull like a crazy how come I keep on getting the dang same thing, guys? Someone tell me that it's gonna flip. Wow, winning ticket. Wow, Haru. Wow, Sakura. Wow, Ryan. Wow, Sakura. Wow, vodka. Got nothing. You have 2 tails? You rolled a second tail? Guys, I've literally not been spending any of my carrots for the past week. And this is what I get. Nothing. Sniff, sniff. Started like 4 days ago. Oh. I guess since there is an event, I can probably get a bunch from the event. And if I like play the stories. So sad. There's no I in team. I want that one. Are you Kaishin Fuzai? You already have her. Guys, I'm so sad. Thank you for the welcome in. I hope you're well. I hope you're doing great. I'm doing terribly. Don't worry, I deduced it because you had Teo and Oguri. I won't pay for it. I refuse to pay for it. Mostly because my Twitch payout from the past 4 months finally came in the other day. The detective juice is flowing? Oh no, am I not in the proper thing? Oh, okay, phew! I deduced. Yeah, what was I saying? Imagine if I get McQueen in my next hand pull. I would cry, I think. Oh yeah, Twitch payout! I got my Twitch payout and I spent all of it on clothes. And a bathing suit. I got like sportswear and a bathing suit and a cute little pajama top. It was very cute, but I haven't spent that much money. Is it a one piece? No, it's a 2-piece. I haven't spent that much money on clothes in ever, probably. Or maybe like 10 years. I'm notorious for not buying myself clothes. I wear old clothes, or if my sister gets tired of her clothes, then I'll dig up her clothes from her like giving away pile. I'll be like, oh, it's mine now. It's like a lavender color. I hate having to buy clothes, and then I hate ordering them online, which is what I did, but the last time I ordered something online was from Lululemon because I wanted to try getting something for work. Like a nice workwear thing, but they both fit not great, so I had to return them. So at the very least, I have that like reassurance that even if it doesn't fit properly, I can return them. I have shirts and pants from like 3 years ago. I genuinely do not remember my last clothing spree. Yeah, I don't know. Yep, yeah. I can't even think of one. I'm mad about it because when racing against chat, well, I suck, so... Oh, hold on 1 second, guys. There was a knock at my door. I'm back. That's true. I have socks. I buy socks. The thing is, like, I hardly go out, and when I do go out, it's only for work, and then when I go to work, I'm in a uniform, and then when I do walk around, I'm like, all right, well, I'll wear my skirt that I always wear. I'm, like, literally, like, an anime girl in real life who doesn't change their outfit. Hi, back! I'm being polite to the animators. I am. You're right. I don't know if Ven is still here, but oh my god, Ven. Yes, last Wednesday when we finished this book, we had a bet going. We're like, how many cats are gonna die in this last battle section? And I bet 3. And there was a few other that did 3, and then there was 1, 2, and then I think 6 died. It was like 100% more than what we guessed. It was so brutal. Forgive me, which battle? It was a battle. You got a McQueen, the normal McQueen. Oh, I guess that is part of the thing. I joined to death counts. That's the risk. You got a McQueen, but not the Angel McQueen. It was the battle where they were gonna have a meeting, and then Clear Sky was awful and decided to bring his entire clan to potentially kill Greywing, Tall Shadow, and Thunder. And so they had to bring everybody to the battle. Who died? You got Lightning McQueen? I want Lightning McQueen. There was Furcone? What was that one cat? There was like a rogue. Did I miss my fave battle? Maybe. The one with the quote that I said? Yeah, I think it was the quote. I remember reading the quote and I was like, dang, that's heavy. But it was like familiar in a way. You can still, you can watch the VOD. You can watch the VOD. It was really good. No, do I wail and hope to get McQueen? No, don't wail. Mikoran, play the game and you'll get a lot. I know. Oh my god, I was going crazy. Also, why the heck is I keep on making like a weird face. No, don't wail. Laggy's trying to live vicariously through you because he's not allowed to spend money on gacha games anymore. I would wail, honestly, if I didn't spend all my money this morning. Was there an incident? Yeah, he became a father. What was the incident? The clothes will last longer, unless I have to return them. Then I would get my money back, though. Oh, to have a baby. Oh. My thing is, like, I wish that I had a baby, but also I don't want it past a certain age anymore. That Greywing quote? Yeah, I wanted to screen cap it, but I forgot. After they reach age 10, I feel scared of them. Oops. But I think I would be a good mom. Ooh. I just pressed a bunch of buttons and I lost where I was. The brightest star. Wait, is it called the brightest star? Read. Online. The blazing star. Blazing. Thank you. Thank you. I will join the club tomorrow. See, I want to time skip to age 6+. Aww. I like the babies. I like how stinky they are. I mean, not like actual stinky, but like, they're just silly. They're so weird. They're like nuggets. Little nuggets. You need a gaming buddy? I guess they could play games with you. You're right. You could play games with your baby too, like stacking blocks. Riveting stuff. You could roleplay with them with toys. Give them like a little kiss with a stuffed animal. They still suck at games. Or they'll be like me and always suck at games. Not if they have your DNA. Whoa. It's a good flex. What was your greatest regret that you didn't do when you were a kid? I wish that I had learned how to sing. My sister had singing lessons, but I was too embarrassed to also have singing lessons. And I regret it. You might say, you can still get singing lessons, Nono. And that's true. I can. But I don't have all those years. That I could have been really good at it already. I could have already been awesome at it. Right now. You worried about growing up too much. Too late, old lady. No! No! Probably committing to learning an instrument. Yeah, that too. But I was really scared. I was scared of all the people who are doing lessons. And also, I feel like it would have like really hurt our wallet because we didn't really have too much money. To actually play an instrument and then learn to play it? It's not sticking with my instruments is a good one too. It's expensive. Not only the instrument, the maintenance on the instrument, and then the actual classes. There is the like, if you enter in competitions, there's like a money reward, isn't there? But I would have been too nervous to do that even. Oh, to be able to sing and play an instrument. Maybe if you're like, yeah, if you're like really, really good. If you're one of those like people that are like, all right.
Nono could have been singing as good as me if only she sang Eeyore. Before turning 53, oh baby, singing was for me.
Singing. 53? How old do you think I am? No way. I love that. Are you not? No! No! I'm actually 1 million years old. I'm actually older than Earth. I'm actually as old as humankind itself. That's how old I am. Lore-wise. Yeah, I met Moses in the desert. I think Jesus wasn't even the first human, no? Jesus was like later on. I'm older than Jesus. Nono was already born. I was waiting. Human number 10. Yeah, exactly. Biblically, Adam and Eve. Number 10. She met Adam and Eve. Yeah, I was there in the garden watching. Considering. Pick up history books. Well, that depends on what kind of history books. We looking at the Bible? Are we looking at evolution? Ayume! I'm the snake! That's my secret. That's my secret. How are you? I'm good. How are you? Jesus was just a dude. There had to be a Jesus at one point. If not Jesus, then, like, I mean, like, you know, like, some dude named Jesus. Victory Royale! Yeah, Fortnite, we about to get down. Get down! Alright, guys. Now that I've recovered from my, my morning of not getting McQueen or a beautiful support card. Oily Josh? Oily Josh? What kind of... You're happy you got tail? I'm proud of you. Because it wasn't... I didn't get to. Almost missing or erased? Yeah, we don't know anything. I mean, technically I do, but I couldn't be all over the world at the exact same time. So I could only kind of like observe partial parts. You know what I mean? Like if I was in not Santa, if I was in like in Pangea, if I was in like the western part of Pangea, then I wouldn't know what was going on in the eastern part of Pangea, you know? Vodka! I got vodka today when I pulled. But not who I wanted. Yeah, the collective unconscious of mankind. Human in that era was busy. Yeah, they were trying to survive real hard. I was only kind of like lingering there. I was watching with the popcorn. Hinted popcorn, actually. I hinted on how it was made so that people could enjoy it. That's actually my lore. I think that should be my actual... What? Why is my camera dying? That my whole purpose was to introduce popcorn to the human race. That was my purpose. There's like the guy who gave fire. The guy who gave fire to humans. I was the one who gave popcorn to humans. Got something in my eyeball. Popcorn! No, not popcorn! Rubbing my eyeball. Okay, guys. We have to read so that I can go back to playing Uma Musume. Maybe get McQueen. Maybe like... See, like, okay. Even if I wanted to buy something, right? Even if I wanted to buy something, all of the like little... all the little things I can buy aren't the main gacha. Like the on sale packs. The on sale packs aren't like, oh, get XYZ amount of carrots. It's like get some carrots and some skill points and this SR ticket that only pulls from a specific SSR pool. So it's useless to me. I'd be worried if there's nothing in your eye. That was a good dad joke, Mikarin. Alright guys. So let's get started on the storybook. Did you get the limited time per... I'm not spending $65. Did you spend $65? I don't have that kind of money. I did, but now I don't. Wow. No! No warrior cats. Yes, warrior cats. Priest dogs? Huh? Oh, I get it. The opposite. Alright, guys. As usual, when I read warrior cats, no comment. Wait, was each wait, Mikarin, are you saying that all together? I haven't spent any money on the game? Me neither. I haven't, because it's been so generous. You got your tax return. Okay, that's allowed, I think. If you get, like, your little, like, a bonus amount of money, then it's kind of allowed. Is it, like, limited 3 purchases, like, saying, like, each, you can purchase the pack of $65 3 times? Or is together all 3 of them $99? Oh no. Is it Canadian? Is that the USD price? Wouldn't that be like $300 then? If it was... Oh, I see. The limited offer. Oh, it is $99 for me too. 3 times left. Jesus. $100. Holy moly. So expensive. There's no point. It'd be easier watching every single horse story. Okay, we're gonna start. Oh, it is? Yeah, you get like, you get carrots for every story you watch. So if you unlock stories, then you can get them from that. And then you can get more by doing the main story. Yeah. Ow, ow. Okay. Join us in the whalage? Never! Never! I can't afford to. Prologue. We're gonna read the prologue now, okay, guys? Since we're starting a new book, there won't be much of a recap from last time, because usually they do a pretty good job of telling us what happened in the last book. That said, in the last book, we did have a massive battle at the very end that killed 6 cats. A lot of dead cats. So that's what's happened there. Yeah, that's where we are. Prologue. Graywin crouched at the top of the hollow, the faint sounds of his sleeping den mates just barely reaching his ears. The fat, white circle of the moon floated above his head, casting a frosty light over the moorland grass. A gentle breeze ruffled Graywing's pelt. His eyes grew heavy, and he opened his jaws wide in a yawn. He was sitting in the cave behind the waterfall, the gushing cascade glittering in the moonlight, and tiny specks of silver whirled across the walls and floor of the cavern. I'm back in our mountain cave, he thought. It's been so many moons since we left. Movement beside the far wall caught Graywing's gaze.
Stone Teller, the tribe's healer, was pacing towards the tunnel at the back of the cave, which led to her den. Her paw steps were unsteady with age, her body scrawny and her pelt thin. She's so old, Greywing thought. I can't count how many seasons she's seen. Greywing glanced around. He saw his mother, Quiet Rain, curled up in her sleeping hollow, and the rest of his tribe mates were asleep too. There's Dewy Leaf. Oh, she had her kids, 3 of them, and they look so strong and healthy. And there's Snow Hair. She used to tell such wonderful stories. Curiosity swept over Greywing. When he lived in the cave, he had never entered the healer's private den. But I'm dreaming. He realized, maybe I can follow her now and she'll never know. He rose to his paws and padded after her. But Stone Teller had vanished by the time Greywing reached the mouth of the tunnel. All he could see was a faint silver glow at the far end. Ignoring the prickling of his pelt, he slipped softly down the dark passage towards the light. As he approached the end of the tunnel, Greywing crept forward more cautiously and stretched his head into Stone Teller's cave. He stifled a gasp as he gazed around. The cave was much smaller than the one where the tribe lived. Wait, what? The cave was much smaller than the one where the tribe lived. Oh, okay, so it's a bit confusing. It's an offshoot cave within the cave. Moonlight flooded through a jagged hole far above, washing everything with a frosty light. Stone Teller sat with her back to Greywing, gazing upwards. Pointed stones stretched down from the roof of the cave, and more of them grew up from the floor. Several met in the middle, so that it seemed as if the tribe's healer was sitting in a forest of stone trees. Ripples of water trickled down the stones, ripples of water trickling down the stones shone in the moonlight and gathered in pools on the floor. Fascinated, Greywing crept into the cave, drawing closer to Stone Teller as quietly as if he was stalking a piece of prey. He was sure that he hadn't made a sound, but before he could dart out of the way, Stone Teller extended a paw to halt him. Greywing yowled in alarm. This is a dream, he told himself. How can Stone Teller know I'm here? Why are you following me? Stone Teller asked. Her voice was gentle, though she didn't turn to look at Greywing. His ears flattened in mingled fear and embarrassment. He had no idea how to respond. I don't mean any harm, he protested. I just wanted to... His voice trailed off, and he gazed up at Stone Teller, bracing himself for a sharp rebuke. Sighing, Stone Teller drew her paw back. You came here because I invited you, she meowed, her voice full of wisdom. I allowed you to follow me. I called you here. Every hair on Greywing's pelt prickled with amazement, and he raked his claws across the hard, damp floor. You can do that? He whispered, even though I live so far away? Stone Teller looked at him for the first time. Part of your heart will always belong here. Greywing knew that was true. Though life in the mountains had been harsh and cold, sometimes he still longed for the thunder of the waterfall and the sharp peaks outlined against the sky. And I still miss the cats I left behind, especially Quiet Rain. Then why? He began. Be quiet, Stone Teller mewed. Her trembling whiskers were angled towards a spider spinning its web in the silvery moonlight. Greywing spotted some flies caught at the edge of the net. The spider was making her slow way over to them, their shining strands quivering with her movements. Greywing stifled a meow of laughter. That's going to be one fat spider very soon. With a sudden flash of movement, Stone Teller leaped up and raked her claws through the web, shredding it into scraps. Greywing let out a gasp as the spider hurled down. Instantly, it set out a strand of web, halting its fall so it could lower itself slowly to the ground. It scuttled out of sight, its home destroyed. Why did you do that? Greywing asked, staring at Stone Teller. The healer returned his stare. Never mind that, she meowed. What will the spider do? That's a really dumb question, Greywing thought. But I can't tell Stone Teller that. Well, the spider saved herself, he agreed. Yes, it did, Stone Teller agreed. And what will she do now? What is this? Greywing asked himself, beginning to feel irritated. I'm not some kid who needs to be taught how to groom myself. Taking a deep breath, he answered, She'll build a new web. That's right, Stone Teller mewed. Wisdom and a long life came from being flexible. One day soon you will need to be just as flexible. You will have to be strong for yourself and for other cats. You already know that life is hard. It's about to become harder. Apprehension thrilled through Greywing from ears to tail tip. He let out a snort of surprise and distress. Can't you tell me more than that? He demanded. Can't you be more specific? Stone Teller's voice softened, and she dipped her head sympathetically. It's not for me to plan out your future, Greywing. I can only give you guidance. You must make your own decisions, but you will need to be strong, stronger than ever before. She glanced over Greywing's shoulder, turning his head to follow her gaze. Greywing seemed to see all the way down the tunnel to where his mother, Quiet Rain, was still asleep in her hollow. A deep ache awoke in his heart. It's been so long since I left her in the mountains. So long since I felt the soft touch of her fur. Make your mother proud, Stone Teller instructed. Remember who you are and where you came from. I'm telling you these things because I know you're strong enough to listen. A great destiny awaits you and your friends, Greywing, but it won't wait forever. Dun dun dun. Chapter 1. It's time to bury our dead, Tall Shadow declared. The Black She-Cat's words dragged Thunder's attention back to the death and devastation all around him. Everywhere beneath the branches of the 4 oak trees, the moonlight showed him pools of drying blood and tufts of torn-out fur. Cats lay on their side in the trampled grass, their eyes open and their faces frozen in expression of pain or shock. The anger that had made them fight had vanished like mist under the morning sun. Now every cat looked vulnerable, the living as well as the dead. Thunder caught the flapping of a black wing from the corner of his line of vision, and turned to spot a crow as it aligned on a low branch. Its tiny, bright eyes flicked greedily from cat to cat. A shudder ran through Thunder from ears to tail tip, and his fur bristled. Tall Shadow's right. No cat should be left here as food for scavengers, not when they've given their lives in such a bloody battle. He felt as if he were carrying a heavy, wet rock in his chest, in place of his heart. Somehow, he knew that everything had been leading up to this terrible battle. No matter what any cat could do, nothing could have stopped it. Cat against cat, claw against teeth, all because of arguments over territory. A vision of blood splashing against bark flashed behind his eyes, and he shuddered. Spirit cats had come to visit them in a vision, to tell them that the fighting must stop. I want it to, Thunder thought now, but how do we claw our way back to peace? Thunder struggled to find meaning in this devastation, but it was like groping blindly through thick fog. Now we've all seen that fighting tooth and claw over territory brings nothing but death and destruction, pain and grief. Thunder wondered whether the cats they had lost today had died so that could be understood. There are so many, Thunder meowed as he moved forward to stand beside Tall Shadow, picking his way carefully among the bodies. How can we protect them? Tall Shadow stretched out one foreleg and thoughtfully slid out her claws. This is what spilled blood, she responded, and this is what will make things right. This is what spilled blood. This is what will make things right. Make things right? Thunder thought, bewildered. He knew what the she-cat meant, but almost unbearable pain pierced him at her words. What could possibly make things right? However long it takes, Tall Shadow went on, we will make a hole in the ground big enough for all our fallen friends to lie in together. In life, they were torn apart. In death, they will be united. Thunder felt every hair on his pelt prickle at the words Tall Shadow had chosen. Unite. That was what the spirit cats told us at the end of the battle. Unite or die. Yes, that is what we should do, he mewed hoarsely. Greywing, Windrunner, and River Ripple gathered around, murmuring their agreement. It will take a lot of effort from every cat, Greywing warned them. Then we must make that effort, Tall Shadow insisted. Only the earth will be enough to protect our fallen den mates from crows and foxes.
Hi, Power Rangers. Yes, I do remember you.
As she and the other cats began to scrape the ground, Thunder noticed that his father, Clear Sky, was standing silently a couple of fox lengths away. He looked reluctant to step forward and join in. Thunder padded over to him, reflecting that it was not so long ago that he and his father had been fighting to the death. At his approach, Clear Sky dipped his head, deep shame in his blue eyes. "I caused this," he rasped, as if he was fighting the urge to wail out loud. "It was my anger that created the chaos. My anger that brought these cats into the battle that killed them. So many of them," he added in a whisper. Memories crowded into Thunder's mind. Clear Sky's first rejection of him when he was a kid, their long estrangement, followed by Thunder's shock at his father's harsh methods when he tried to live with him in the forest, their arguments and their latest parting when Thunder's paws couldn't walk his father's path any longer. But in spite of all that, Thunder was unable to repress a surge of sympathy. "Come on," he mewed encouragingly. "Let's do right by those cats who sacrificed themselves." When Clear Sky did not protest, Thunder led him across to the others, who had already begun to dig in the shadow of the fort trees. No cat spoke as they scraped and clawed at the ground, the hole growing bigger and bigger. Already tired from the battle, Thunder felt his legs begin to ache as his paws grew black with dirt and his vision blurred from exhaustion. Yet he forced himself to go on. The harsh caw of a crow sounded somewhere overhead, and he found himself digging even faster. At last Tall Shadow stood back, shaking off the earth that clung to her paws. "That should be big enough," she panted. "Now, let's bring our friends over here." Most of the cats divided into pairs, gripping the dead cats with their jaws and dragging their limp, lifeless bodies over to the grave. But Thunder found himself alone, standing over the body of Hawkswoop. Her orange tabby fur was clotted with blood, and a cruel gash gaped at her throat. Thunder felt sharp claws clenching around his heart as he remembered how Hawkswoop had cared for him when Greywing first brought him into the hollow after he had been driven out of the forest by his father. His shoulder fur bristled as his gaze scoured the clearing and alightened on Clear Sky. He was padding up to the body of Rainswept Flower, whose life Clear Sky had taken just before the battle began. They knew each other since they were both kits, Thunder thought, revulsion welling up inside him. Then he heard his father's voice, a low, grief-stricken murmur. "I'm so sorry." Clear Sky was truly mourning his dead friend. The guilt will hurt him more than any cat's claws ever could. His heart still weighing heavy in his chest, Thunder dipped his head to take Hawkswoop's scruff in his jaws. Her fur was soaked with the taste of death, and he had to fight hard not to recoil. Her body was limp and heavy now that the life had run out of her. I can see why the other cats worked in pairs, Thunder thought as he tugged her towards the hole. Before he had gone many paw steps, he caught a flash of black fur. He turned his head to see Lightning Tail with his sister Acorn Fur hovering behind him. "Please let us help," Lightning Tail meowed. Thunder nodded, knowing how right it was that the two younger cats should help bury their mother. The Black Tom gripped Hawkswoop's tail, his green eyes filled with sorrow as his teeth met in her orange tabby fur. Acorn Fur worked her shoulder underneath her mother's belly. With their help, Hawkswoop's body suddenly seemed lighter, and in only a few heartbeats, Thunder, Lightning Tail, and Acorn Fur carried her to the edge of the grave. Panting as he recovered from the effort, Thunder took a step back. Lightning Tail and Acorn Fur stood over their mother's body, their heads drooping and their shoulders sagging. Exchanging a grief-stricken glance, they put their noses to the ground and pushed Hawkswoop into the hole. At the last moment, their eyes closed as if they couldn't bear to see her tumble and flop into the pile of bodies. No day could ever be worse than this one. The raspy, wheezing voice startled Thunder, who whipped around to see Greywing. Beyond him, through the trees that still bore their last few ragged leaves, Thunder could see the line of the moor, bare and bleak under the frosty sky. The days ahead can only be better, the gray Tom mewed. Thunder straightened up, raising his head with an instinctive pride. Greywing is right, he thought determinedly. We'll make sure we never feel grief like this again. Hawkswoop, I'll never forget you. Lightning Tail spoke from the edge of the grave, his voice throbbing with sorrow. Neither will I, Acorn Fur added. We'll both miss you so much. At their words, other cats gathered around the hole to gaze down at their fallen friends. Shattered Ice crouched at the side of the grave, his gaze fixed on his friend Jackdaw's cry. We'll never dig out tunnels together again, he mewed in a voice rough with grief. The hollow won't be the same without you. But you've not died in vain, Cloudspots added, standing so close to Shattered Ice that their pelts brushed. None of you have. We shall learn from this terrible day, we promise you. More cats took up his words, raising their voices in wails of anguish. We promise! We promise! The yowling died away. Thunder drew away. Oh, as the yowling died away, Thunder drew closer with reluctant paw step. Wait. It just merged two paragraphs together. Thunder drew back from the graveside and found himself beside Tall Shadow. As if something invisible was tugging at their paws, River Ripple and Windrunner padded up to join them. That's the cat leaders. Thunder, Tall Shadow, River Ripple, Windrunner. Ah! A couple heartbeats later, Clear Sky drew closer with reluctant paw steps. His eyes seemed fixed, as if he was staring at something very far away. Looking through the other cats at a vision they could not grasp, he halted a little ways away from the other four, who stood in a line facing the rest of the survivors. They look like we're guarding the grave, Thunder thought. Greywing limped to his littermate and sat beside him, though Clear Sky kept his distance from Thunder and the others. Listen to me, all of you, Tall Shadow yowled, her gaze raking across the huddle of grief-stricken cats. This must never happen again. We should listen to the cats and the stars, to the warning they give us. From now on, we have to work together peacefully, and at the next full moon, we must return to this clearing to hear more messages from the spirit cats. Yes! Clear Sky's voice was a shaken purr. At last there are cats who will tell us what we have to do. Suddenly understanding flashed into Thunder's mind like the dazzle of sunlight on water. So that's why you've been so protective and so hostile? Greywing turned on his brother, his gaze full of compassion. Oh, wait. No, I didn't read that in the right tone. It's supposed to be like this. So that's why you've been so protective and so hostile. Greywing turned to his brother, his gaze full of compassion. All this time, your responsibilities have been too much for you. You tried to do the right thing, but you asked too much of yourself. Clear Sky turned his head away in shame. I'm so sorry. For the first time in many days, Thunder felt hope stirring inside him. Clear Sky will get guidance from the spirit cats now, so maybe... Then he shook his head. Nothing will make me believe that these cats needed to die. Tall Shadow cleared her throat loudly, interrupting his thoughts. If I can be allowed to finish what I was saying. She paused as the other cats dipped their heads in acknowledgement, then continued. I want to promise that all cats will respect one another. No more fighting over territory and prey. Too much has happened, and all of us need time to recover. Indeed, I believe that any cat who needs help should receive it, whoever the cat and whatever they've chosen to live. Do you agree? As she finished speaking, Tall Shadow looked at Greywing, whose gaze immediately flicked at Thunder. My young kin proved himself in battle, Greywing meowed. Tall Shadow, he is the one you should look to in times like this. Tall Shadow looked puzzled. To Thunder? Yes, Greywing replied, bowing his head. I need to think about what's happened, and what the future will hold. Thunder should take his rightful place as leader with you and Clear Sky and River Ripple. He stepped down. A storm of anxiety broke inside Thunder. Greywing had been like a father to him. Now it sounded as though he was distancing himself. Greywing was crouched down as if he was overcome by grief, as well as weakened by his illness. Knowing that the time for reluctancy or modesty was far behind him, Thunder turned to Tall Shadow. These cats need me now. I
Yes, welcome in.
I love your icon. Yes, we should help any cat in trouble, he replied. A meow of agreement came from Windrunner, while River Ripple dipped his head. I will help any cat I can, he responded, surprising Thunder with the depth of feeling in his voice. It was the first time River Ripple had lost his usual calm detachment.
Exposed. Hope you're well. I am. I hope you're well as well. We're just reading Warrior Cats today, so it's a chill little time.
And he wasn't really close to any of the cats who died today, Thunder thought, impressed. He turned to his father. Clear Sky, do you agree? Clear Sky was once again gazing into the distance at something that only he could see. He started at the sound of Thunder's voice. Yes, I agree, he mewed. Thunder wished that his father seemed more committed to the decisions that the rest of them were making, but he told himself that Clear Sky was probably shaken up by the terrible events of the night, just like the rest of us.
Chapter 2.
Now it's time for all of us to go home, Tall Shadow announced.
Hi, Aid.
To the forest or the hollow on the moor, every cat is free to choose. I don't live in either camp, River Ripple put in, but any cat is welcome to come with me to my island home. Thunder watched as the cats padded to and fro, still looking uneasy. Gradually, they began to gather in two groups, one around Tall Shadow, Windrunner, and Thunder, and the other around Clear Sky. Acorn Fur was drifting closer to the cats, who surrounded Clear Sky, and Thunder's pelt prickled apprehensively at the sight. He took a step forward, but before he could do anything more, Lightning Tail was beside him, his green eyes wide with shock as he gazed at his sister. She can't be thinking of leaving us, he exclaimed. Acorn Fur must have heard him or spotted the two Toms watching her, because she came padding over to them. I'm not sure I want to go back to the hollow, she meowed, blinking apologetically. Too much has happened. I'd keep expecting to see hawks swoop and jackdaws cry. Her voice trailed off with a choking sound. As she spoke, Clear Sky emerged from his group of cats and came to join them. I'll happily take Acorn with me to the forest, he declared, if that's what she wants. Acorn Fur didn't respond, just stared mutely at the ground. With an unpleasant jolt, Thunder realized that was exactly what she wanted. And there's nothing I can do about it. We've all agreed to live in peace with one another. Besides, he added to himself, what Tall Shadow said is true. Every cat should be allowed to choose where they want to live.
Acorn Fur.
He drew a long sigh. Once again, it was clear that nothing would ever be the same.
Hi, Windmeal. Welcome back.
But Lightning Tail clearly wasn't able to accept that. How can you leave me? He yowled at his littermate. I won't be far away. Acorn Fur brushed her brother's shoulder with her tail. The forest is very close. Would you like to come with me? She gazed at him hopefully. Lightning Tail hesitated for a heartbeat, opened his mouth as if to reply, then looked away. As if unable to find the words, he gave a sad shake of his head. A great surge of warmth and affection swept through Thunder for his loyal friend. He stepped up to Lightning Tail and pressed his muzzle gently into the younger cat's flank. Acorn Fur is right, he meowed. She won't be far away, and if the battle has proved one thing, it's this. We shouldn't think of ourselves as two separate groups, but one big group split in two.
Thank you, Windmeal.
I love you. Longtail gave a nod of understanding, but he still didn't look happy. Of course he isn't, Thunder thought. I'll make sure to look after him in the future. The two groups gradually drew away from each other, one towards the moor, and the other up the slope that led further into the forest. Only River Ripple didn't move. He gave a twitch of his ears as Thunder faced him with a questioning look. I'm happy that you seem to have settled your differences, the silver-furred Tom began. His words pierced Thunder, as if a different cat was calling to him from among the trees. I've always felt more comfortable in the forest, he reflected, remembering how natural it had felt to stalk prey in the undergrowth. He could see that the other cats, too, seemed to be pondering River Ripple's words. But it looks like I belong on the moor for now. Greywing and Lightning Tail both need me to take care of them. Dipping his head in polite farewell to River Ripple, Thunder padded over to Tall Shadow and Windrunner. Clear Sky approached them, embarrassment in his eyes. I suppose this is goodbye for now, he meowed awkwardly. But you're all welcome to visit any time you want. No more guards on the border, I promise. Tall Shadow acknowledged his words with a stiff nod. We'll meet here again at the next full moon, she announced. Then we'll see how we're all getting on. Clear Sky murmured in agreement, and returned to his own cats, leading them up the slope and into the shadow of the trees. Thunder watched them go until the last tail tip had vanished into the undergrowth. Come on, Tall Shadow mewed, gesturing to her own group with a swish of her tail. Let's go home.
Why are you sad?
Also, that doesn't make any sense because earlier in the end of the last book, all of Clear Sky's cats left. They left him alone, and that's why it was weird and awkward for him to be there still. So he's like, when all his cats leave, it's literally just Acorn Fur and him. There's no one else leaving with him. But will it still feel like home? Thunder wondered sadly. There are a lot of inconsistencies. With so many of us gone? He took the lead as the cats headed towards the moor. In spite of all their promises, he still felt uneasy. They might have made peace with Clear Sky's group, but he couldn't help wondering how long it would last. Your dad was in a car crash. That is very sad. You should probably be with him now, instead of listening to me read. Or if you can't be with him, then, I don't know, maybe like play something? Take some time with yourself. Where was I? Dawnlight slipped through the branches, growing stronger as they neared the edge of the forest. Their progress was slow as they limped painfully through ferns and around bramble thickets, weakened by their wounds and their grief. Greywing wheezed with every breath he took. I see. Don't worry, Windmeal.
I'm glad!
As long as you can keep yourself in good spirits, or hopeful spirits, or nice spirits, any sort of spirits. Greywing wheezed with every breath he took. If anything attacks us now, we're crow food, Thunder thought, worrying that the scent of blood might attract predators. As if his fear had called it up, he heard rustling in the undergrowth a few paw steps ahead. He froze, raising his tail in a signal for the others to halt. Pacing the air, he wondered what might be lying for them in wait. There was no scent of fox or badger, but whatever was lurking in the bushes was too big to be prey. Who's there? Thunder called, making his voice sound loud and commanding. Show yourselves! After a moment's pause, 3 cats emerged from underneath a holly bush. They all looked wiry and half-starved, and a faint, rank smell came from them. They held their tails low, and their pelts bristled with nerves. Thunder let his gaze travel over the 3 cats as they stood in front of him, half cowering and half defiant. 2 of them were Toms. One had pale brown fur except for 4 black paws, and the other was a big tabby with unusually small ears. Yet to meet in this book, the she-cat had bushy fur that stuck up in prickles. Thunder relaxed slightly. Even in their present injured states, he couldn't see this sorry collection giving them much trouble. The she-cat was first to step forward. We saw the battle and heard what you said afterwards, she began, meeting Thunder's gaze. We wondered if your group would have room for 3 more cats. Tall Shadows padded forward to stand beside Thunder. You were wise to not get involved in the fight, but who are you? She asked.
I'm called Holly.
Oh my god, Holly. The she-cat replied.
These are Mudpaws and Mouseier.
The tabby Tom ducked his head, looking shyly amused. Can you guess how we got our names? He asked. Won over by their friendly tone, Thunder couldn't resist replying. Mudpaws is easy, he meowed. That cat has black rings of fur around all his paws, as if he's been padding through a muddy field. Lightning Tail was curiously circling around the big tabby. Most first small your love child.
You must be Mouseier because your ears are the size of a mouse.
Fizz, Lightning Tail announced at last.
What?
Mouseier faced Lightning Tail with his lips drawn back in the beginning of a snarl. Lightning Tail braced himself, as though ready for an attack. Thunder took a pace forward, but Holly raised her tail to stop him.
It's okay, she reassured him. Mouseier may look like a big bully, but underneath that tough shell, he has a soft heart. Unlike you.
Oh, unlike you, Mouseier retorted. Backing away from Lightning Tail, Holly's spine stiffened, and her neck fur began to bristle. Thunder let out a murmur of laughter.
I get it, Holly. You're as prickly as that bush you were hiding under, am I right?
Mudpaws and Mouseier shared an amused glance as Holly raked the ground with her forepaws in irritation.
Maybe,
she admitted, glaring at her 2 friends. Rays of sunlight were piercing through the leaves as the sun rose higher, and Thunder felt a wave of exhaustion sweeping over him. He needed to get back to the hollow and sleep, for days and days. Why don't you join us? Tall Shadow asked the 3 strangers. You say you heard the cries and yowls of batter. Can't you see that we're injured? It will be no easy life with us. You may end up helping to tend the wounded. The 3 cats exchanged glances, then Mouseier stepped forward. Yes, we saw the fight last night, and we can see now how you suffered. But why should that mean we don't want to share a home with you? We respect you for your bravery. Thunder's pelt burned with shame to think that there had been witnesses to the horrors of the battle. He didn't feel brave at all. We think you're all very brave, your Mouseier went on. We like living on the moor, but it's hard when it's just the 3 of us. We think that you could benefit from having us around. I can fight off just about any cat. I even got the better of a badger once, and Holly's really good at sensing whether cats can be trusted.
It's true, Holly put in. When you're hard to please like me, you'll definitely get the sense of which cats deserve the benefit of the doubt. And Mudpaws is an excellent stalker. Those paws will take him anywhere, as silent as a spirit cat.
Spirit cats? Tall Shadow asked, pawing the ground. What do you mean? Mouseier looked confused. It's just an expression we have, he explained. There aren't really spirit cats living here. That would be too weird, he finished, with a pretend shudder. Thunder took care not to catch Tall Shadow's eyes, so these cats didn't witness everything that went on last night. They didn't see the spirit cats. Exhaustion rolled over him again like a dark cloud. All he wanted was to crawl up in his nest. He could hear approving murmurs from his den mates and see some of them nodding. Come on, then, he said to the 3 strangers. You can accompany us. With a sweep of his tail, he signaled his cats to get moving again. His limbs aching, every paw step an effort, he led the newcomers across the moor to the hollow. Wow. 3 cats died from their side, and they got 3 new cats immediately after. Exchange. Equivalent exchange!
Gotta replace them.
Fresh blood.
It's 420!
Greywing stood beneath the spreading branches of the 4 oaks, his gaze fixed on the earth that covered the cats who had fallen in battle. Though almost a moon had passed since then, he could still hear the yowls of defiance and the screeches of pain, as if that terrible struggle would never stop. The taste of blood remained in his throat, as if he had been jerked back into that dreadful times. But already the ground had settled, the grass had even begun to grow again in the bare earth. In the future, no cat will have any idea that this is a burial place. It's true. He thought sorrowfully, but I'll never forget, and I'll make sure that the others remember these fallen cats. And Turtletail, too. She should not have died alone in the two-leg place. Slowly, Greywing began to groom himself, licking one forepaw and drawing it over his ears. His wounds had healed, and his breathing was almost back to normal, yet he knew that nothing would ever erase the scars in his heart. So much has changed, he sighed out loud, inside and out.
Lawful good, lawful evil, lawful neutral. True.
Greywing felt that he couldn't even lead a hungry cat to a pile of prey, much less take responsibility for the whole group. He knew some of his den mates would be glad to see him take up the leadership again, but nothing was further from his thoughts. Not without Turtletail's support, he sighed inwardly. Greywing prickled his ears at the sound of paw steps padding up behind him. Without turning his head, he knew that a cat had come to sit beside him. Oh my god. I never thought I'd see such a death here. I never thought I'd see such a death here. Greywing recognized the voice of the loner, River Ripple. This was my first time back since the battle. Greywing nodded his head in acknowledgement, his dark memories threatening to overwhelm him. He remembered the hopes he and his den mates had shared when they set out from the mountains, looking for a better home. His body shivered at the painful realization that the journey had led so many of them to their deaths. Turtletail, Bright Stream, Moonshadow, and that wasn't all. Rain-swept Flower, Hawk Swoop, Falling Feather, Jackdaw's Cry, all gone. Dang, how many of them are still alive? By next green leaf, River Ripple went on, his voice gentle, this grave will be covered in wildflowers. You should not keep returning. Day after day. Green leaf. Greywing was momentarily puzzled. Ah, that's the rogue cats' names for the warm season. Recently, the mountain cats and their descendants had begun using these terms too. Greywing twitched his whiskers. How do you know what I was doing? He asked. I thought you said you hadn't been back here until now. River Ripple let out a soft meow of laughter. Oh, Greywing, have you learned nothing? I may be a loner, but I know more than any cat. I see what you all do and where you go. Greywing felt the brief touch of a tail tip on his shoulder. Stop tormenting yourself, River Ripple went on. There's nothing for you here. Go back to the cats who love you. Greywing felt his throat tightened, and when he managed to speak, his voice was wet and raspy. I can't bear to think of them all alone. But they're not alone, River Ripple told him. Didn't you see them among the spirit cats? They're not buried beneath the earth. They're running with the stars. He gave Greywing a gentle nudge. Stop fretting. Do you think your old friends are hanging around here, waiting for you to visit? Of course they're not. You must think of the living. They're the cats that need you now. Greywing turned to face River Ripple, knowing that he was right. Something within him calmed. Thank you for being so kind, he mewed, touching noses with the silver-furred Tom. Are you sure you won't come live with the rest of us in the hollow? River Ripple shook his head. Thanks, but no. Okay, Greywing meowed. But will we see you back here when we meet again? Yes, I'll come, River Ripple answered. I'll be too curious to stay away, and in the meantime, if I catch you here again, I'll be demanding the prey from your next hunt. In response, Greywing leaped away, racing through the trees towards the hollow. You'd have to catch me first, he called back over his shoulder. Aw, they're so sweet. When Greywing reached the edge of the hollow, he spotted Thunder at the far side, near the rock where Tall Shadow kept watch. Mouseseer and Mudpaws were with him. As he padded towards them, Greywing realized that Thunder was teaching the former rogues how to use the rabbit burrows when they were hunting. Jump out like this, he instructed, pushing off with his hind legs into a massive leap from a crouching start. Greywing watched, the sight calling up the memory of when he was training Thunder, along with Acorn for her lightning tail. I still can't believe Acorn Fur lives with Clear Sky now, Greywing thought sadly. He forced his mind into a happier path, recalling earlier practices, how Thunder used to trip over his large white paws when he was a kid. Not anymore. Greywing let out a purr of satisfaction. Thunder had grown into a formidable cat. He's come a long way. I can step back and know the group is safe. A scamper of paw steps distracted Greywing from his thought. Says Sparrowfur and Owl Eyes rushed past him, eager to join the training session. Hey, you know better than that, Thunder called sharply as they tumbled into the group. Sparrowfur had barreled straight against Mouseier, who stared down at her in shock and snarled, Get off my paws, midget! The young she-cat's eyes sparkled, and she gave Mouseier a teasing nip on the back of the leg before she jumped back. Mouseier let out a growl and batted at her, but his paws barely skimmed her fur, and his claws were sheathed. Annoying furball, he muttered. Thunder rolled his eyes. This is a training session, not a wrestling match, he meowed, giving Sparrowfur a hard stare. Now concentrate. Let's see her pouncing again. See that stone over there? Pretend it's a mouse. He watched approvingly as all the cats crouched and leaped for the imaginary prey. Oh, stop whining and just do it. You'd think you didn't have paws at all. Greywing jumped with shock as the mocking voice interrupted the training session. It was coming from just outside the hollow, and for a moment he couldn't identify the cat who had spoken. Slightly disturbed, he climbed the slope again. Beyond the camp, Greywing spotted Jagged Peak halfway up one of the twisted thorn trees that grew nearby. He was clinging to a branch. His claws sunk deeply into the bark, his eyes wide with apprehension. Holly stood at the other side of a narrow gully that became a stream after heavy rain. She was looking up at Jagged Peak with a smirk on her face. Come on, she repeated. Just jump. I'm not standing here all morning listening to you complain. Greywing felt his heart begin to beat faster and his shoulder fur bristle as he started towards them. What is Holly doing? Jagged Peak can't make that jump. You should talk, Jagged Peak retorted to the she-cat, after the way you've been whining about having to share prey. Greywing halted as his younger brother hurled himself out of the tree, easily clearing the gully and landing beside Holly with a thump. See, I did it, he meowed, giving her a smug look. Happy now? A half-stifled murmur of laughter sounded behind Greywing, who turned to see Cloudspots padding up to him. It's not funny, Greywing snapped. The new rogue is picking on Jagged Peak. Someone needs to teach her. His voice trailed off as he noticed the amusement glimmering in Cloudspot's eyes. Stay out of it, Cloudspots advised him. I don't believe it's what you think it is. Besides, Jagged Peak can take care of himself. Yo, they flirtin'. Can he? Greywing asked himself. Ever since his younger brother was injured falling out of a tree, he had always assumed that Jagged Peak couldn't take care of himself. Have I been unfair to him? Leaving Holly and Jagged Peak to their own peculiar kind of training, Greywing headed back into the hollow, to where Thunder and his cats were still practicing their pounces. Before he reached them, Pebbleheart appeared out of their den, and padded up to walk alongside him. Since he was a young kit, the Tabby Tom had shown healing skills, sometimes mysteriously knowing how to treat illnesses without being told. He had strange dreams, too. Greywing's pelt prickled as he remembered Pebbleheart telling him about a dream of cats screeching and clawing at one another, a vision of the battle before it took place. Since Turtletail's death, Greywing sensed that something had changed deep inside Pebbleheart. He seemed more thoughtful and focused. After the battle, he had helped to take care of the wounded, showing infinite patience and the authority of a much older cat. Greywing had the feeling that the little Tom's paws might be small now, but the steps he was destined to take would be big. A surge of warmth spread up inside Greywing's chest, and, for once, it was nothing to do with his breathing problems. Welcome back, Windmeal! Pebbleheart's so cute. I love him. I promise I'll be a good father to all 3 of these kids. I'll do my very best for them. Have you had any more dreams? He asked Pebbleheart. No, Pebbleheart replied hesitantly. I can imagine he becomes very important with his little poweresses. But Greywing felt certain that his adopted son wasn't telling him everything. Sadness and anger mingled in his heart. Surely if there's any cat he can trust, it's me. But then he reminded himself that Pebbleheart would share his secrets when the time was right. Nothing would be gained by nagging him. Greywing comforted himself with the thought that he had allowed Thunder to find his own path. And look at him now, teaching the younger cats and the rogues. He's every bit a leader. Okay, keep practicing, Thunder told the other cats before breaking away and padding up to Greywing. Did you see Clear Sky or any of the others while you were out? He asked. Only River Ripple, Greywing replied. Since the battle, the Moorland cats had seen Clear Sky and his followers from time to time. They had shared a few polite words, and even prey, then gone their separate ways. It was a relief that the territory borders weren't being jealously guarded, but Greywing couldn't help feeling that things could be better. Stiff politeness was all very well, but it was a far cry from the close friendship they had felt for one another on their journey out of the mountains.
Hello, Toasty!
It's not long before the next meeting at the 4 trees, Thunder went on. Do you think the spirit cats will appear again? I'm not sure. Greywing thought for a moment, then added. But we'll all agree to meet there at the end of the next full moon. To see how we're getting on. So we need to do that. Spirit cats or no spirit cats. Unite or die. That's what they said we'd do.
You're on the big screen now. Nice. Chapter 4. Hello, Kyoto. Welcome in.
The icy glow of the full moon poured down upon the 4 oaks. The leaves rustled in a gentle breeze, casting dappled patterns of light and shadow on the gray rock. Beneath the trees, the clearing was alive with cats. Greywing spotted Acorn for bending eagerly forward to nuzzle Lightning Tail, who covered her ears with affectionate licks. Nearby, Dapplepelt and Quickwater touched noses, then settled down for a long chat. Greywing caught a snatch of conversation between Shatterdice and Petal. You and the other rabbit chasers, the yellow tabby she-cat meowed good-humoredly. Why don't you learn to stalk? Why don't you learn to run? Shatterdice retorted, giving her a friendly nudge. Greywing watched with hope in his heart. Most of the cats haven't seen one another since last full moon, when they were fighting.
How's your day? Yeah, you probably are one of the cats at the bottom, Windmeow. How was your day? It was okay. I tried to pull for character that I wanted in Uma Musume and I didn't get her, so I was really sad. But I'll just watch a bazillion stories and hope that I get her eventually. Where was I? Greywing watched with hope in his heart. Most of these cats haven't seen one another since last full moon. When we were fighting, he murmured to Thunder and Tall Shadow, who were standing on either side of him. And now look at them. Maybe the peace really will last. Tall Shadow blinked, looking on with mild surprise as Cloud Spots and Leaf touched noses and settled down side by side, their pelts brushing. Perhaps the worst is behind us, she agreed. And we can start making plans for the future, Thunder put in. Clear Sky padded over to join them. Relief flooded over Greywing to see his brother looking relaxed and friendly. For so long, all he cared about was protecting his territory. After a few moons ago, he wouldn't even share prey with me. But we all learned lessons when our friends died.
It's good to see you, Clear Sky mewed, dipping his head to the moorland cats. His gaze traveled across the mingling groups, and he added, Do you think the spirit cats will be pleased with us? I hope so, Greywing replied. We've done nothing wrong, and yet, somehow, things don't seem quite complete. He couldn't explain the emptiness he felt any more clearly. Surely there's more uniting than just not battling one another.
Bye, Kyoto! Have a good rest of your day!
Gradually, the babble of talk died away, and the cats gazed up expectantly at the dark sky, but all they could see were stars and the cold circle of the moon. What do we do if the spirit cats don't come? Greywing wondered, his belly cramped with tension, as a confused murmur came from a little group of cats off to one side. Please, not another attack. Then the group of cats parted, and River Ripple brushed between them and padded up to Greywing. His perfectly groomed pelt shone silver in the moonlight. Greetings, Greywing purred, amusement bubbling up inside him. I don't have any prey to share, you know. River Ripple dipped his head, his eyes glinting with humor. I wouldn't miss this meeting, he mewed. I remember how scared you all were the last time the spirit cats appeared. But it doesn't look like they're going to show up tonight, Windrunner murmured sadly. I think they will, River Ripple responded confidently. Just wait. As if his words were a signal, a mist began to rise from the ground, chilly with the promise of leaffall. It swirled around the waiting cats, rose to cover the 4 great oak trees, and finally blotted out the moon and the stars. Greywing found himself standing in the midst of a silver-gray cloud, so thick he couldn't even see the cat standing next to him. Nervous meows came from close by, and his own pelt was prickling as he tried to push down his fear. Gradually, the clouds began to fade until Greywing could make out the shapes of his den mates, standing within a fuzzy ring of light that encircled the whole clearing. Then, as the last of the mist cleared away, he saw that the light came from the spirit cats, sitting all around as if they were still alive. Greywing had to blink as he looked at their brightness, but he recognized them instantly. The cats who had died since they left the mountains. Brightstream, Shaded Moss, Moonshadow, and Turtletail. He felt just as shaken as he had the first time they appeared. The shining form of Rainswept Flower rose to her paws and took a step forward. As she did so, Greywing noticed that Clear Sky had turned his head aside in shame, as if he couldn't bear to look at the cat whose life he had taken before the battle had even begun. You have done well to observe peace since the last full moon, Rainswept Flower meowed, and yet the claw still blights the forest. Greywing and the other living cats exchanged confused glances. How can that be? Tall Shadow asked. We haven't fought since... Her voice trailed off, as if she could hardly bear to finish her own sentence, since the battle here. Unless cats have been fighting in secret, Windrunner snapped, gazing around with suspicion in her eyes. No, that's ridiculous, Greywing protested. We would know. Turtletail padded forward to stand beside Rainswept Flower. You will realize what it means in time, she assured them. Greywing's heart filled with sorrow as he gazed at his dead mate. Her pelt shone with starlight. She was even more beautiful than he remembered. It hurt him more than any claw to hold her gaze, and his voice shook as he asked, Can't you just explain? Won't that save time and bloodshed? Turtletail blinked sadly. Cats can fight and fight and fight, she mewed, but sometimes even the sharpest claw cannot make a wound. Greywing let out a frustrated growl. What does that mean? He turned his head as he spotted movement to one side. He saw River Ripple padding closer to the 2 starry she-cats with the whisk of his tail. If something is meant to happen, it will, he pointed out calmly, and no cat's will is strong enough to stop it from happening. A chorus purr of approval rose from the spirit cats. River Ripple is clever, Shaded Moss meowed, an approving blink of his deep green eyes. You should listen to him. Yes, I agree with what he said, Thunder added eagerly, a glow of understanding in his eyes. I felt that after the battle, like everything had happened up until then was leading us to that moment, that fight. Greywing felt his chest tighten as his young kin swerved. He turned in an anxious circle, his gaze raking the assembly of the spirit cats as he tried to read something in their impassive expressions. But why did it have to happen? He asked. Why was it unchangeable? And remember how I made the decision to leave the mountain, to settle in the hollow, to raise thunder as my own. I made those choices. Turtletail gazed at him sympathetically. Did you? She asked gently. Or did you follow an errant brother out of the mountain? Greywing's chest felt like it had been filled with ice. It was a feeling of helplessness. She's right. It wasn't my decision to leave the mountains, he realized. If Jagged Peak hadn't decided to run away and follow the cats who left, Quiet Rain would have never insisted that I followed him to make sure that he came to no harm. Everything that happened after that wouldn't have happened if Quiet Rain hadn't pleaded with me. Greywing, you mustn't worry, Turtletail meowed. I know you don't like feeling powerless, but you were brought to this point for a reason. Greywing turned his head away, gazing at the beautiful tortoiseshell she-cat. It was just too painful. You were taken from me, he choked out. What could have been the reason for that? He began to pace to and fro in agitation until Tall Shadow stepped forward and intercepted him. Calm down, she ordered. We're being told what to do. Greywing took a deep breath, forcing himself to stand still again. I want to be rid of these awful feelings, he hissed. I thought the spirit cats would help. Before he had finished speaking, Storm bounded forward to face him. You and the other cats are getting all the help you need, she told him, her whiskers twitching impatiently. All the help that we can give. That's right. Moonshadow patted up to the side of his sister, Tall Shadow. But there's still more work to be done. Only the blazing star can blunt the claw. Frustrated by the constant hints and riddles, Greywing felt another angry yowl burning in his chest. But before he could utter a sound, Brightstream spoke, echoing Moonshadow's words. Yes, the blazing star. To survive, you must grow and spread like the blazing star. To survive? Greywing thought, bewildered. Aren't we surviving already? Thunder called out. Is the peace gonna be broken soon? Windrunner demanded. Desperate yowling rose up from the living cats as they hurled more questions at the spirit cats, but there was no reply. Instead, another mist rose from the ground and drifted around the oak trees, blotting out the starry forms, until, when it faded, they were gone. Greywing stepped forward to where Turtletail had been standing, but she had left no mark or sign of her presence. The rest of the spirit cats had left no trace either. If it weren't for the tightness of his chest and the burning ache of grief in his throat, he would have thought that he was dreaming again. But I know I wasn't. The spirit cats were real, and so was their advice. To survive, you must grow and spread like the blazing star. At least, he thought, his instincts had been right. He had felt that their troubles were not over, and the vague words of the starry cat seemed to confirm that more lay ahead. He remembered the dream that kept coming to him ever since the battle, when Stone Teller had summoned him to her den and told him that he had to be strong. Maybe this was what she meant. Our survival is going to come under threat, and we need to grow and spread like the blazing star. Whatever that means, Greywing muttered out loud. As he stood deep in thought, the rest of the cats crept forward to gather around him. Their voices hushed now. What could the blazing star be? Dapplepelt wondered. And how can we grow and spread like it? Petal added, glancing around, as if she expected one of her den mates to come up with the answer. Clear Sky shouldered his way to the front of the crowd to stand beside Greywing. Maybe it's a battle tactic, he suggested. Dude, why would you need to fight? That doesn't make sense, Tall Shadow argued, narrowing her eyes at Clear Sky. There are no cats to fight anymore. Windrunner blinked, looking unusually hesitant. What else could they have meant when they said that a claw still blights the forest? Maybe the claw isn't a real claw, but just another riddle? Greywing froze as a new voice joined the conversation, strong and confident. He whipped around to see a strange she-cat, who he was sure hadn't been there just a moment before. She gazed boldly into his eyes. Her fur was thick and golden, its tabby markings rippling over her body, except for her chest and paws, which were pure white. "Where did you come from?" he asked. "Are you part of Clear Sky's group?" The she-cat didn't reply, and Clear Sky wasn't taking any notice of her. "I wish the spirit cats had been more help," he mewed with the lash of his tail. Clearly, he felt just as frustrated as Greywing.
Sweet dreams, Windmeal.
Greywing saw River Ripple turning away and headed back the way he came with a nod of farewell. "You're leaving already?" he asked, shocked. "I can see which way this is going," River Ripple confirmed with a wry twist of his mouth. "I'm not sticking around for another night of bickering. If I happen to figure something else, I'll come and find you." Greywing watched as the silver-gray Tom disappeared into the darkness. Thorn, Dew, and Nettle from Clear Sky's group were watching him too. And, to Greywing's surprise, so was Dapplepelt, with something in her gaze that he couldn't quite account for. Dragging his attention back to the debate over the spirit cat's message, Greywing noticed that Thunder wasn't making any contribution. He was too busy looking at the strange she-cat who had just spoken, his whiskers twitching bashfully. Oh my god, he's got a crush! The she-cat padded over to him, her gaze fixed as if she saw no other cat, and stood in front of him, her tail flicking slowly to and fro. "I've been dying to meet you," she purred. "I've heard so much about you on the moor. What a great leader and fighter you are." As he listened, Thunder's chest puffed up with pride. He opened his jaws to speak, but nothing came out. It's as if he had no idea what to say. The she-cat waited for a moment, then turned and padded away, glancing back to shoot a final glance at Thunder from luminous green eyes before she vanished into the undergrowth. Thunder couldn't tear his gaze away. Greywing felt a rumble of laughter rising in his throat. Thunder might be a big, strong leader of cats, he thought, but in other ways, he's still very young. Cute.
He's got a crush. He's got a crush. He's got a crush.
I think I'm gonna... Chapter 5. Okay, next chapter is very short, so I'm just gonna read the next chapter really quick.
We might have a shorter stream today. Just because my throat is kind of hurting.
Like a weird hurt. You know, like when...
I don't know how to describe it well, but it almost feels like there's a liquid stuck in the back of my throat, but the liquid isn't a liquid, it's a sting. A stinging feeling. That's the best I can explain it. Chapter 5.
It's because I've been crying about McQueen, it's true! McQueen. Clear Sky paused beneath an arching clump of ferns and took in a long breath of the cool morning air. Since the first visit from the spirit cats, there was no need to patrol his boundaries anymore.
I want to play Uma Musume. I want to eat dinner.
But he enjoyed the peace and quiet of the forest in the dim light of dawn, and since the second visit from the spirit cats the night before, he wanted time to ponder their message. The blazing star. Could it be the sun? Clear Sky wondered, padding onward through the undergrowth, the dew-laden grasses brushing his pelt. But no, how could any cat use the sun as a weapon? Deep in thought, he didn't realize at first how far his paws were taking him, until he caught a familiar acrid ting at the back of his throat, and heard a distant rumble. The Thunder Path! Clear Sky halted, then turned back towards his own camp, his fur bristling. I certainly don't want to go there. The harsh shriek of the monsters faded, but Clear Sky's nose twitched as he picked up another scent. There was a cat in the forest, one he didn't recognize. And as the scent gradually strengthened, he realized it was drawing closer to him. Every hair on Clear Sky's pelt prickled with suspicion. Is This a sneak attack? True, if your name is Soul, you can weaponize the sun. But the strange cat was moving too clumsily for that. Clear Sky could see the tops of the ferns waving as the cat blundered forward, making no attempts at quiet. Clear Sky hesitated a heartbeat longer, then leaped up to the nearest tree and crouched on a low branch, half hidden by a clump of leaves. A moment later, a Ginger Tom emerged from the undergrowth and started sniffing around the roots of the tree. Now that he was so close, Clear Sky's belly turned over at the stench that was rising from him. Kitty pet. And one he had seen before. Tom? Slinking through the forest with some kits. Ew! He's the Claw! Tom is the Claw! Kill him! Clear Sky waited until the Tom turned to pad away, then rose to his paws and took a pace further along the branch into the open. You again! What do you want here? He demanded. The kitty pet reared back in alarm, then crouched to the ground, lying his ears back. My name's Tom. I don't mean any harm, he stammered. I've been wandering around in the forest for a while. I noticed the cats are forming into groups. Clear Sky twitched his ears. And? I like the sound of that, Tom went on. Cats working together, helping each other to find shelter and prey. It's gotta be much better than working alone, scounging for scraps while hoping it doesn't rain too hard. I was wondering if your group might have room for one more? Wouldn't an acorn fur be able to recognize him, though? Or I guess she doesn't know what he looks like, but you'd think. But, like, for sure, Lightning Tail would have been like, oh my god, and this awful Tom? Named Tom? Can you even believe that? They named him Tom! Like, I feel like they would gossip heavily about that. Clear Sky studied the Ginger Tom closely. He wasn't entirely convinced by the kitty pet's speech or his cringing manner. I can see the marks on your neck where you wore your two-leg collar, he meowed, and your round belly. You must have had a few easy meals lately. Tom gave his chest for a couple of quick licks. I once lived with two legs, he admitted reluctantly, but I've since returned to the wild. Returned? Clear Sky challenged him. Tom rolled his eyes. All right, not returned exactly. This is my first time living in the wild, but it feels like I'm returning to my real home. Clear Sky let out a snort of laughter. Oh, I feel so sorry for you. It must have been hard living in the warm and dry of a two-legged den when your spirit was craving the cold, wet, and hunger of the wild. Studying Tom afresh, Clear Sky noticed that his pelt did look a bit ragged in places. Though he still had the stench of two legs on him, it was believable that he had been living like a real cat for a little while. But Clear Sky was still reluctant to take in a kitty pet, especially when he remembered what had happened with Bumble. Leaping to the ground, Clear Sky kept a wary distance from Tom while patting around to size him up. So, can I come and live with you? Tom asked. I've heard about your survival tactics, and I think I could work the same way. Instantly suspicious, Clear Sky narrowed his eyes as he gazed at Tom. What have you heard? He demanded sharply. Tom hesitated, as if he sensed Clear Sky's tension. Well, that you make tough decisions when it's necessary. Times have changed, Clear Sky responded, wondering if Tom was referring to his behavior before the battle. All the cats live peacefully now. Really, there's no particular reason to join a group of cats. You should be able to survive pretty well on your own. Tom twitched his ears. True, he mewed, but I can also bring benefits to your group. What would those be exactly? Clear Sky asked, his interest piked. What could a kitty pet offer real cats? I may not be as skilled at hunting as you, the Ginger Tom replied, but I can learn quickly, and I have my own ways of fighting. He studied his paws, and Clear Sky couldn't decide if he looked modest or guilty. I know how to fight with cunning, he added. Do you mean fight dirty? Clear Sky asked sharply. Tom didn't reply. Instead, he looked up at Clear Sky with wide, pleading eyes. There's so much I can teach you, I promise. Won't you take me in? He begged. Guilt throbbed through Clear Sky. Facing the truth about himself, he knew that he had caused so much unhappiness in the past. Perhaps it's time to make amends. No! Okay, he meowed. You can come back to camp with me if you think you can prove yourself, but I'm warning you, we can't support any cat who doesn't contribute. Tom puffed out his chest, his expression suddenly proud and happy. You won't regret this, he promised. We won't let you down. Clear Sky, who had turned away and taken a couple of paw steps back towards his camp, halted and turned back again. We? I agreed to take in one cat, he thought, his pelt beginning to prickle with anger. Is this ginger flea pelt trying to cheat me? Tom let out a pleased meow. I have a friend with me. As he spoke, there was a loud rattling of twigs and leaves from up above, and another cat landed on the ground. Clear Sky fought the urge to leap away, his pelt crawling at the thought that the newcomer had been lurking in the very tree where he had hidden to keep an eye on Tom. And he'd had no idea that the cat was there. They must have been following me. They arranged this meeting. Sizing up the new arrival, Clear Sky realized that he had never seen a rogue like this before. The fur that covered his scrawny body was knotted and his claws were broken. One eye was missing. And the one that remained was a look that was pure wild. He paid no attention to Clear Sky, but circled on the spot, hissing and spitting as if he was facing a whole group of enemy cats. This is One Eye! One Eye. Tom announced proudly. He's the bravest rogue cat in the whole forest. When Clear Sky didn't respond, Tom added, he may look like a sick, skinny old thing on his last legs, but he's the perfect addition to your group. You won't have to worry about being attacked with him around. I invited him here today. Tom broke off with a screech of pain as One Eye pounced onto his back, digging his jagged claws in. Jerking away, he turned a shocked stare on One Eye as the rogue jumped down again. What was that for? He asked. Wait. How should I do his voice?
I can speak for myself.
One Eye hissed. Clear Sky thought that Tom was right to look shocked. What is he thinking hanging around like this? Tom sat down and started to groom his pelt, his pride clearly ruffled. Meanwhile, Clear Sky watched One Eye as he circled languidly. Can you keep up with that voice? How long is One Eye going to be talking? He was becoming more and more intrigued to hear what the rogue had to say for himself.
I remember this forest when all the trees were saplings.
One Eye began.
I lived here before any group were even born.
Dude, that doesn't make sense. So how old is he? Clear Sky asked himself. If he's as old as the trees, he should hardly be able to walk. While Clear Sky was trying to decide how to respond, One Eye whipped around and confronted him.
Are you the leader, then?
He asked. Surprised by the direct question, Clear Sky raked the ground with his forepaws. Well, of this part of the forest? Yes.
Then you're the cat I want to speak to.
One Eye continued.
Tom's told me all about you. I'm here to offer my service to your group of cats. Trust me, this is not an offer that you want to turn down.
Momentarily stunned, Clear Sky was acutely aware that he had to take control of this situation. What do you think you can bring to my group? He asked. One Eye looked thoughtful for a moment. Before he could reply, the sound of fluttering wings in the tree above distracted all three cats. A plump pigeon had aligned on the lowest branch.
Excuse me,
the mangy rogue drawled. With a massive leaf, he hurled himself into the tree, his claws sinking into the body of the pigeon. It struggled wildly, its feathers falling like snow, then went limp. One Eye thumped back to the ground and dropped the prey at Clear Sky's paws, as if shaking dirt from his fur.
Will that do?
He asked. Clear Sky gazed down at the dead bird, impressed in spite of himself.
I'll show you my hunting and fighting techniques anytime you like.
Tom is back! No, Kay! This is terrible news! We don't need to learn any fighting techniques, Clear Sky retorted sharply. Just the hunting skills will do. For a few heartbeats, he hesitated, then asked, Have either of you heard of the Blazing Star? One Eye and Tom glanced at each other. Tom shook his head, but after a moment, One Eye muttered,
It could be a plant.
Thank you, Paradox. Could be anything, Clear Sky thought, disappointed to not have discovered any useful information. I guess it was a bit of a long shot. Okay, you can follow me back to camp. He meowed to One Eye and Tom, some instinct telling him it was better to have these cats as friends rather than enemies. But as Clear Sky turned it headed towards home, One Eye padded ahead of him, leading the way as if he already knew where their camp was. The pigeon dangling from his jaws, Tom brought up the rear. Why do I feel as though they always knew they'd be coming back with me? Clear Sky thought. There was more to these cats than they were letting on. These are the evil cats. These are the evil cats. Ah! All right. I think that's where we're gonna stop for now. I think that's a good intro of this book. Made some good little progress here. A good kind of like what's to come, you know? Soon. We've been introduced with Tom and One Eye. How will they change the forest? Clearly they're the evil thing that has come. The claw that blights in the forest still. But will we find out how? Tom is so scary. I hate this dang guy. Hate this dang god. Alright, guys. I don't think I'll raid into anyone tonight because... I guess we could. Orbitana. Who are you? Who are you? This was a good listen. Hi, Minnie. Thank you. Madoko Magica. Lies of P, Dave the Diver, Slay the Spire. Art. Alien. Is this? Hold on, I think this might be the person who made my model, maybe? Question mark? I'm stuck behind ads.
Subscribe for ad-free viewing, emotes, and more. Thanks, Alien.
Oh, no it isn't. But they're cute, so I'm gonna rate them anyways.
Dun 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 dun.
That work? No, it didn't.
Rats.
She's rigging right now. Oh, I was rigging before, and everything crashed, and it was very sad. All right, I'm sending you off. Bye, guys. Okay. Tomorrow, I don't know if I'm gonna have a stream. I might, but later in the day, if I do, because I work all day tomorrow. So I might do it much later, but yeah, we'll see. Friday is also the same, so we'll see what happens on Friday as well. Until then, if I don't stream on either Thursday and Friday, I'll stream on Saturday or Sunday or something, just to make up like one little sneak peek. Or I'll have a soda. I'll have a soda stream maybe. I don't know. Alright. Bye-bye, guys. Love you. See you when I see you. Bye.